I've freed up 4 gigabytes of recording space, so I mean it should be good now. 4's not a lot though, is it? This laptop's shit. I mean, I've got a 1 terabyte hard drive, but I don't know why it doesn't save it on there. It's weird. It's probably a setting that you can do. I mean, personally, I mean, I'm not redoing my BIOS until 1 minute and 20 seconds. I'll redo my BIOS then. There's no sort of model here at all. You can look at the 5. It's obviously very clearly neutral. You can look at the 15. It's very obviously bullish. You can take a look at the hourly. It's very obviously neutral. The 4 hours obviously bearish, and the daily's neutral, right? So it does indeed give you a neutral bias and a 5-minute invalidation low. Now, 10 a.m. the bias is going to change, and as I said, with that 4-hour inversing, potentially a 15 and hourly going to go bullish from sell side. It's going to likely be an opportunity for longs, you know. Yeah, Jack already knows. I mean, Jack's seeing accumulation right now, small accumulation period. Manipulate sell side. It's pretty obvious. It's likely the draw is sell side, and then we see a distribution, you know. We start seeking that 4-hour inverse draw, which is obviously current weekly high. Yeah. The way you edit your videos, well, to be honest, on the longer type of videos, it depends, because in the past I had someone who just edit the video, but for the live streams, it only takes me 1 minute and 30 seconds. So I literally just, the gaps when I don't speak between the macros, I put on 100x speed, and then hit download, and then upload on YouTube. That's it. I don't put any other work into uploading videos. I don't really care. But yeah, CapCut is the one. Help me build confidence and discipline. Well, yeah, that's what we do. Where did you do your journal before TradeZeller, and how did you do it? Yeah, I mean, basically, I used to have an Excel sheet, and I used to write every single trade on the Excel sheet through the year, all down. Yeah. And I used to use various backtesting tools and go back and price, you know, and go back to these trades and work through them and make improvements by the end of the year. But TradeZilla is obviously the best, you know. It's very easy to use, and we don't do that affiliate bullshit. Obviously, you know, as you guys know, we don't affiliate anything. We give a flying rat. TradeZilla is awesome. It certainly is. I mean, you guys see how much time we spent on trade dealer, especially, you know, December. Well, we did what, a month and a half every day, you know, the whole of December. We started what in I started in November, did the whole of December and a little bit of January, and we did a lot. Would you say the 15? Well, it did go 10 a.m. So let's take a look. So yeah, the 4-hour inverse, we already know roughly that was going bullish, so you can change that on the 4-hour as bullish. Hourly time frame, so what are you looking at here? Well, you're looking at neutral, aren't you? It only goes bullish at this area for price. And then if we go all the way to the left, no. So neutral, and then the 15 that's bearish. Let's have a look at ES though. So it's neutral. I mean, it's bearish. So the 15 is bearish towards the next bullish gap, which in this case would be this one, or the low. And it says there's a bullish gap there. This is why you have it on. There you go. So that's obviously the draw. So that's bearish. And then the 5. That's pretty much it. 5's obviously neutral. So yeah, we got still a neutral bias. I mean, the 4-hour and the 15 have just switched roles really. This is accumulation. It's pretty obvious. So when you see manipulation, you'll see it. It's pretty obvious. It will either take the high or the low. It has to go somewhere, obviously. Accumulation. Manipulation. Distribution. You know. Normal ICT traders getting wrecked today. Oh yeah. I mean, like, what would they see, right? They would see a shift in structure. They'd take a short because, you know, they're idiots. They'd see an inverse gap after a sweep of a 5-minute low and trading out of, I don't know, they'd say they have a bullish bias and they don't even know how to form bias, and then they would be long. Now, I'm not to say that, you know, people are unprofitable, right? I'm not saying that. You know, they're likely, I don't know these people, but likely they're still potentially profitable, you know. But they're not as good as us. Right, the coconut water is back. Alright, fresh haircut. You've always got a fresh haircut, haven't you? Why is the 4-hour bullish? We inverse the bearish gap, brother. Simple stuff. Okay. Let's see. Milo, do you think we should be keeping a database and screenshots of trades we make, so when it comes for a payout, we have everything counted for in case they ask us for proof or something. Well, it depends who you are. And now the reason why I say that is because if you're trading on a live account, all of your trades are automatically logged in the database of your live account. So then you wouldn't have to. And if you trade with a prop firm as well, and you keep the same funded account, obviously, you know, from risk management, then it's all kept there as well. And all you have to do is just pull the CVS or the PDF file from Tradeovate, and you've got all of your trades just like that. You know. But yeah, at the same time, it's also good to have everything logged, you know. So 100% have an Excel sheet, or I personally give you guys the month-to-month P&L. So I show you guys the, you know, the screenshots, you know, as you guys have seen it. I have the P&L channel in the Discord. So every trade I take, you know, we put it on the P&L. Did TradeZeller help you narrow down your rules and checklist, or just the 2022 mentorship? No, so obviously I started with the Market Maker series, right? And then I watched the 2022 as it came out, because I started in 2021, before the 2022 was even out. And then I formed my overall model from the 2022, and then year after year after year after year, I've adapted it. And, you know, the way I do bias is not taught by ICT. I form my own way of bias. Now, ICT's way of bias, and what every other person would be doing, is they're looking at the higher time frame and they're finding a trade and a sweep of liquidity in that direction. That's just the standard. Now, my bias is a lot more high probability. There's no need to get into that. I mean, you know, that's just, we'd be waffling at that point. You guys already know that. We spoke about how, you know, taking a higher time frame bias, right, and then taking positions on the lower time frame, it does not work. No, it's not as high probability, obviously. You're looking at a position for the, you know, let's take a look at the 5 here. So yeah, that's obviously still neutral. I'm just gonna re-look at this bias. That's obviously still bearish. Yeah, it's the same. Still accumulating. Even though we took that low, this is still accumulation. When you see manipulation, it's going to come with at least, you know, in the New York session, about at least 50 points. You guys be mentioning that gay guy's name. You know, he's not even in the caliber. He could never be what, you know, what we are. Loser. He will take your money and you won't get shit. You know, that's not what real people do. Tell you what, TGR, he needs Jesus. You know, he needs to go to church. He needs to go to the Miami church in Brickell, where I used to go. That's what he needs. And he should walk there. He doesn't need to aura farm. You know, most 90% of Miami, that's where they need to go. Because when I used to go into that church, no one went in there. I was the only one who walked in there. And then sometimes I'd see occasionally, you know, 10 people be in there. right, I think it's time for the minced beef pasta. It's time to whip it up, because this is obviously the end of the macro. Now, between the macros, we're going to see some movement. So we'll see what we get, you know, going into the next macro. Just remark that high. Simple stuff. Who is that? Oh, Jack with another quote. Let's read this. Oh, yes. I don't know where Jack finds these bangers, but, you know, he finds them. He is the source. For the 30% rule on Apex, that's my biggest trade. Got to be 30% of what? Yeah. So, what I got when I asked for a payout. So if I did 2,691 in one day on a 300k, I can ask for a payout until I'm at 9k. Well, let's do the maths. I mean, my phone's on 1%, it's about to die, but if we do 9,000 times 30%, 2,000, yeah, you're correct. Yeah, that's all it is, yeah. Do I pay €7 a month to see live markets, CME and TradingView? Well, you're definitely going to need it, obviously. I mean, you need TradingView Premium, and then you need to buy the CME package. So, yeah, I think it's something like around that, yeah. But, I mean, I bought the whole year, because there's no point paying monthly, because then sometimes it might, you know, I might just block TradingView or just do the year by year, really. I always buy it around November, December time. I don't understand why people would pay like monthly for TradingView or pay monthly for certain things if you're going to use it as your business. You know what I mean? You know, even TradeAvate on my live account, I bought lifetime access for lower execution fees. Like, why would you just settle with normal fees? I'm already in profit as far as fees. There's risk to reward everywhere in life. There's even risk to reward. You got to be a Jew, right? That's how you got to. Like, recently I started becoming more Jewish, as far as money-wise, but not Jewish at all, obviously, as far as, like, God and everything, but with my money. And I'll tell you what, even with Revolut, right, they do monthly ultra plan. So you get, if you're flying, you know, normally anyway, then you're going to get airport lounge access. But obviously, if you're flying business, you get the lounge anyway. If you're flying first, you get the lounge anyway. Now, it does give you lounge access, but even when I told you guys that I got food poisoning, Revolut comes in, 50-hour trade with the insurance. So there's things that you don't even have to pay for. Yeah, there's risk to reward everywhere. One thing I'll tell you guys as well, a bit of advice, right? You know, when you speak to people, or you bump to someone in the gym, and then you start speaking, oh, bro, what do you do? Just keep it quiet, because when you in a conversation with someone, the one thing, yeah, that you have to understand, you need to be present. So many people are just, they're there, but they're not actively listening to what someone says, right? So you need to understand, where's the direction of the conversation going towards? Is it you, or is it the person you're speaking to? And the value exchange. So where's the value exchange? Is it coming from you, or is it coming from the person you're speaking to? And if it's coming from you, you fuck right off. I've done that many times. Bumped into someone. Oh, bro, you know, I seen this. Or, you're doing this. Yeah, great, nice to meet you. I'm doing a gym session. Bye. You know, not in a rude way. Good to meet you, I'm going. I'm not going to stand there talking to some dickhead for 20 minutes. That's one thing that, you know, some people do have to learn. It's very important. Don't have random conversations. Understand and talk to them enough to understand roughly, okay, this guy is just, he's looking to take this or take that. Because, you know, human nature, people take. They don't give a fuck about you. I'll tell you that. Trust me. And it's also going to be around 95% of people you bump into. I've only taken a couple contacts of people I've randomly bumped into, and they've owned private jet companies. Well, as a matter of fact, only one. I've got one billionaire contact, and I've got one private jet owner company. And a couple contacts, but they're not nowhere near those two. So, you know, you just have to observe everyone. And yeah, you need to do it in a psycho way. You need to actually understand, so you don't get yourself fucked over and waste your time with people. Everyone's always gonna want to take your knowledge, which you fucking work hard for, yeah? So that's what I'm saying. There's a value exchange in absolutely everything. If you're in a relationship with a female, right? You know, there's a value exchange, always. Both sides. Otherwise it will collapse. Also with your friends as well, there's a value exchange. If you're leading the friendship, providing all of the knowledge and everything, it's going to fall apart. Well, someone's going to get pissed. So there's always a value exchange in everything. So you need to look at, as soon as you chat to someone, if the value's going straight out of your mouth, you're fucking out. And also, you shouldn't even be speaking about that. So just listen to them. That's what I always do. I let them speak, and then they just spill everything. And if they spill some knowledge, I'm taking it. So you just got to let people speak, because if you just observe, then you can never fuck up. If you speak less, right, and observe, the number one thing, if you meet someone smarter than you, or someone who makes more money, or has, you know, more connections, more business related everything, right, and more knowledge, as soon as you speak, they're gonna fuck you off, exactly like I do to most people. So it's always best to just observe, because you might meet someone that is on a whole different level, billionaire, and you're probably 95, 98% of the time you're gonna meet some tramp. I'm gonna cook some beef pasta. I'll speak to you guys at 10:40. Alright, welcome back for the second AM macro. Alright, so it's pretty obvious. We had a sweep of buy-side bearish SMT on NQ. Pretty obvious. Pretty obvious. Right, let's look at the 5. So, on the 5... Alright, so basically ES took the high, so we're going to have a neutral 15. And a neutral 5. And a neutral hourly and a bullish 4 hour. That's it. turn that down a little bit. Past 2 more accounts. Okay. What accounts are they? What accounts did you get, brother? Apex. Yep, that's the way to do it, brother. Yeah. Lovely. Just crossed the million. Lovely stuff. So you're into the group of 1 million plus in funding now. That's good. I think we got about, oh, I'll look at the, the, what do you call it? So this Sunday we're going to update the leaderboard. So the leaderboard in the Discord's getting updated. Okay. On Saturday, Sunday this week. We'll see what everyone's got. Obviously, we've got currently about 10-12 people from a month ago, over 1 million in funding already. So I'm looking at probably should do about 15 or more, 20 people now. Past 15 accounts, top step, I funded, take profit. What is it? Yeah, lovely. Yeah, obviously mine's actually secured one today, as you've seen. So sweeper buy side, bearish SMT on ES, right? So we shifted structure. Now there is, let's have a look. So there's 1 floor and 2 floors with this currently. Let's see if you guys can name in the chat the 2 floors with this. Bias, okay. Not IV, no order block, yep, that's it. So no order block and bias. No, the 4 hours bullish. Now the reason why the 4 hours bullish, right, because we closed and then the draw's going to be towards the next high or bearish gap. We haven't met a bearish gap or a high since that inverse, so still bullish on the 4 hour. Hopefully that makes sense. So when price takes sell side at 8.11, we actually do get to form a bullish bias. So we're seeing a accumulation, manipulation of the high, and now it's distributing likely towards sell side. And now obviously, well, not quite, but shortly anyway, that would be the invalidation low. So if this was a valid short, let's say it was, obviously it's not, that would be the IV, if you're curious. You can look on the 5, it's a 5-minute swing. It's also the third 1-minute low. See how it plays in. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you can just turn this on. Obviously, the 5's bullish, and the 15. Turn that on. See, and then the hourly will go bullish in a sec once we take sell side. 4 hours bullish. So we've got a nice bullish bias and a sweep of sell side. You know, you can label these lows here, right? Relative equal lows. Because they are. So now we've got a bullish bias, as I said in the first day of macro, that we're likely going to see if we're going to get anything is a bullish bias with longs. There you go. So we've got a bullish bias, sweep of sell side, and then we'll look for longs. Pretty much it. Who cares about the SMT on ES? You can give a flying rat. We just wait for the model to form, and then if it's still there by that point, you know, don't waste your breath on it. Oh, but price might draw sell side. Like, we don't care. You know, we already swept sell side. Cool. No worries. If we sweep 8, 11, cool. I'll just delete relative equal. We swept another point. Okay. Right, I'm going to check a couple of my payouts to see how far they are. Let's take a look. You know, when you send money to the live account, it feels like you've robbed the bank, and then you're just putting it into the live account. You know what I mean? So you're taking all these payouts, they hit, okay, right, boom, send it off. You know, I've just robbed the prop firms. Let's put it in. We're doing heists. That's what we're doing. Sophisticated. Alright, so basically it says risk approved, compliance approved, finance processing, status finalized. Yeah, so I mean, probably already hit. That's just one of them anyway, so that's that 14k payout I submitted yesterday. 2.8 on 5 accounts, and then I've got 2 other prop firms that I hit for, and then obviously I passed out and fell asleep. Yeah. I mean, we really are the biggest, you know, finessers in the game. Now, I can't, obviously I'm recording on YouTube, but it is diabolical, let's say that. I have $400 left to buy accounts. What should I buy? Okay, let's think. So, let's have a think. Well, I mean, to be honest, you can get 1 guaranteed account in 2 days from that. So you could do that, as you already know. So you already know that 2-day pass guaranteed. You could get 1 account from that. That'll be the price of 1. But unless you already have those prop firms, well, it depends. Depends what you have, what you need to get. I mean, you'd only be able to get one account out of $400. It'll cost you 2.5 for 5. I'm putting the sunglasses on, I'll tell you that, because that's a lot better. Why are they like that? Sweep of, relative equal lows. Either we take sell side or not. I mean, I don't really care. We've got a bullish bias, and we look for a shift above the short-term high. I mean, there's absolutely textbook. That's all it is. So we just look for, we just took the sell side. So we look for a shift above the short-term high. Did you already record the 2-day pass video that you was going to post? I'm not recording a video, I was just going to write it, and it's currently 50% done. So basically it's just, I'm writing the exact step-by-step on how to run it. Well, there we go, that's a lot better. Yeah, that 2-day pass is absolutely guaranteed. Yeah, let's look at the 5. See this closure here, because we gotta take a little look. I mean, that's pretty tight. Let's have a look. Because if we get a shift here, we just want to make sure. Yeah, the 5's bullish, obviously. Let's have a look. So the 15 is also bullish. Regardless, if we inverse the gap, we're trading out of a bullish gap. Hourly time frame, not quite bullish. 4 hours bullish. That's pretty much it. Delete that area for price. Don't care about that. You can move minor sell side now. Yeah, that's old stuff. So bearish order block, and then what is that? That's not a bearish order block, but it is on ES. So we got obviously 2 order blocks to inverse here. We got, it's perfect. I mean, that's what we look at. That'll be our shift. Won't we tap into the hourly fair value gap before price draws higher? No. Well, I mean, I'm not going to say no. I'll say that we don't care. So the only thing we look at is that we've formed an overall bullish bias. And when we say bias, you're biased against Ronaldo because you like fucking Ronaldo, but you won't admit Messi's better. Obviously, I know fucking Ronaldo's better anyway. But I'm saying bias is bias. You're leaning in a direction, right? So that's what we've got. We're leaning bullish off stats, and we swept sell side, and now we're looking for a shift. So whether the I don't know what the fuck caused that, but whether we draw towards the hourly or not, yeah, what the fuck did cause that? That was a pretty aggressive move by the Nasdaq there. So obviously that's a failed shift in structure, so naturally price does seek sell stops, but holy shit, that was Trump must have shat himself. Alright, let's look at this other point of buy side, so you can just put that on there. Drag the bias down here. So essentially it's 100% bullish bias. Now, you see, NQ can make its second shift, and this is the the second opportunity to shift. Now, if this fails, then I won't look for longs. So, the Nasdaq's got one shot to shift, and ES is still on one shift. This is all one shift. So ES only has to close a gap, and same with NQ. Now if this candle closes and puts a short-term high, that would be the second failed shift. Which, what are we going to see? Well, we're going to see this, mate. This low. You know, you guys seen it hundreds of fucking times, but it'll be sell stops. You know, that's what happens. So all that it means is that we're, you know, holy fuck. What is this? Right, let me check Forex Factory. What is going on here? This is not normal. Some people saying the Jews. I mean, it's definitely something fucking Jewish related, I'll tell you that. So yeah, we inversed the order block on NQ, and we've definitely shifted structure. So the Nasdaq shat itself, and then on ES we got the order block inverse paired with a gap. So yes, it is still a model. Let's look at the 5. So the 5's bearish. Okay, the 15 is still bullish, and the 4 hours bullish. Fine. So it's bullish bias. Inverse order block with the gap. Shift in structure on the second shift. That's fine. IV is obviously the high. Pretty obvious. So I'll mark the IV on ES like that. I'll mark it on NQ. Pretty obvious. And then we're going to look for an entry long off this gap. So we're looking at a 55 handle stop. Which is 3 micros. Buy side's going to be completely break even anyway. So now we see, does price give us a entry? That's pretty much it. Galaxy Trade said 1 to 2 question mark. Yeah, obviously, brother. I mean, I haven't even marked the TP yet. I'm just, you know, I can't be bothered. But if we get the entry, we get the entry. So, you know, by these buy side areas in price, we'd already be completely break even anyway. So we essentially just use it to our advantage. Let's change that to black. So we can still look for an entry. We haven't taken an invalidation high as of now anyway, so it's fine. Style, turn that off. So that's an example of a breakaway gap. Okay. Bag. I mean, we got time to annotate the chart. I don't usually even bother, but yeah. So, how do I say your name? Diara? I don't really know. Why is it going without us? I mean, you know, you either get an entry or you don't. So, if ES takes IV, NQ takes IV. But yeah, you either get an entry or you don't. That's simple stuff. So obviously this is first presented gap. Now I'll tell you one thing about this first presented gap. So we're looking at an 86 handle stop, which 86 handles on this day is absolutely huge. And you'll be looking at a 2 to 1 for the current weekly high, which is completely unrealistic. So you shall not be taking a first presented gap. I will tell you that for free. So ES takes IV, and that's it. So you would not get an entry. Simple stuff. So now we can delete this shit and move sell side to here, like that. There you go. So now what you'll find, the probable scenario, now we've taken IV, invalidation high, you know, call it whatever, is that price returns back to the gap because it's met one of the objectives, and there's definitely a lower chance that it will go towards sell side. That's pretty much it, yeah. Mario said perhaps short model forms after taking points of buy side. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, you know, we're not going to lose an eyebrow hair over it. So we'll just let price do its thing, and whatever it forms, you know, it forms. As soon as you start to try be a Jimmy Crammer in the space, you know, and try predict where the market's going to go, then that's when you start receding. So you just need to understand what step you run in the model, and that's it. Where was the inverse order block? Well, we had one here on NQ, but I didn't really care about it because it wasn't really paired with the gap. Now, it probably was flush, but it was a lot easier to see it on ES, that ES was paired with the gap. Up close, down close, engulfed, and it's paired with that, well, not a breakaway gap on ES, but this gap on ES. This was a breakaway gap, pretty obvious. ICT Jesus, you must be living in the Stone Age. So you said, I remember you mentioning something about backtesting, taking trade after fair value gap is formed. Yeah, so I mean, we've already taken about, I would say 5 of those trades that we implemented. So obviously we enter off order blocks. So let's say, for example, right, it didn't happen in this scenario, is that you'll see price. So let's say, you know, let's have a look at this. So this is the example, right? We've already done this countless times and made a shit ton of money. Now, price trades from the gap. Let's say that's the body of the candle. Right, up close candle, by the way, and then we have a down close candle like that. I don't know what the fuck is that. And then we have a down close candle, right, that engulfs that candle but doesn't trade back to the gap. right? So that's obviously the body of the candle. So it's engulfed it. But no, matter of fact, that's a fucking shit example. No, so basically what I'm saying is that this is a down close candle, this is an up close candle. This one engulfs this one, order block, whatever. We take the order block entry if price doesn't trade to the gap. Simple as that. I mean, I'm surprised you haven't already seen it. I mean, where have you been, brother? I was actually listening to that in the gym today. You know, Where Have You Been by Rihanna. It's a fucking banger. The hardstyle remix. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you get a hardstyle remix or the 2016 White Girl Bangers, like, that's all you need. Yeah, I've hit countless PRs with, you know, Ariana Grande and Rihanna. I mean, they just dropped the biggest bangers back in 2017, you know, so I've hit loads of PRs. I've also exceeded 300 kilometers an hour with those bangers in my ear as well. Yeah, 300, yeah. I mean, what, have you not gone 300 before? What are you doing, brother? I did it on a bike. I went 315. It was on a tuned, staged R1M. Well, with no limiter, obviously. The limiter was, they'd done something to this, whatever you call CPU, I can't remember what it's called. It was like a fucking rocket. 210, 299. Can't wait to get my license. I don't know why, I just picture mines just driving. Make sure you drive safe, mate. Do you ride a H2R? I've been trying to find someone selling the H2R. No one's got it. I've been trying to buy that bike. No one's got it in Thailand. I've really been hunting for it. No one's got it. So, I'm on the Z1000 with a burnout exhaust. The burnout exhaust, my opinion, one of the best. Like, fuck Austin Racing and Apravolvic, or whatever the fuck you call it. Burnout exhaust. Because I've got two exhausts on my bike, you know, I've got one both sides. Z1000. Straight pipe. It pops loud enough to give an old man a heart attack. And it screams that you can hear it on the other side of the city. It pops wheelies. Can't keep the front wheel down. I mean, to be honest, like, gear 1, gear 2, wheel comes up easy. You can power wheelie in gear 1, gear 2 easy. And then you can do a clutch up gear 3, gear 4 pretty much. I mean, the H2R, from what I hear, is that It power wheelies in gear 5. Yeah, all the old men cheering me on, you know, as I go through Pattaya. They're all deaf. That's a turbo. Well, the H2R, yeah, but the Z1000, I don't believe it has a turbo, no. My best bike for wheelie I had was the MT-07. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's definitely a bike you can wheelie, but as far as speed, the MT-07 is, you know, we both know it's slow as fuck. The MT-09 would probably be a better spin. Yeah, the MT-07 is... It is a slow fucker. I had it in Dubai and I was actually scared for my life, to be honest. Well, for those of you that have a fast car or have a fast bike, you feel more comfortable and safer in a faster car. You know, because if there's a gap, I'm like, oh, I can take that gap. Yeah, boom, I'm there. And when you got a slow shitbox or you got a slow car, you feel more more at risk on the road. You ever rode a quad? No, I've not been on a. Well, actually, no. Well, I've been on like dune buggies and that. I had a dune buggy in Cyprus. Crashed into a tree. I was coming down this mountain. I hit a mad drift, and then you know when you look at like Fast and Furious, when the rear tire basically, you know, is on the edge of the road and it's about to come off. Well, mine came off, so I thought I did the drift perfectly, but the back tire slightly came off, and then I fucking flipped over into a bush. But I thought it was jokes. I mean, that's the only time that I've actually like had a incident, but it was on like a private gravel. I was just ripping it around Cyprus, you know, jumping off cliffs and shit. That was a few years ago. I had a Golf R. Yeah, Golf R is a rapid. Genesis G70. What's that, like a Gulfstream or something, like a jet? C4's already, you know, he's on a whole nother level now, you know. He's got the G9 or whatever it is, G7 plane. If enter the position, can you make breakdown Milo? Well, I mean, I always break it down as the position, you know, approaches, really. It's broken down, really, you know. Kevin just got some more accounts. Yeah, end of macro. All I want is my GTR. Absolutely. I mean, I've been looking at a few GTRs, and I wanted to buy the GTR over the Rolls Royce, to be honest. And I should have. But the Rolls Royce was good. Now, I was looking at GTRs in Thailand. Now, the issue with it is that it doesn't financially make sense, because they're selling GTRs here for 350k USD, 300k USD. So, a GTR, right? It's about 150 USD, brand new, like 2024. You can have 150, even 100k USD. I mean, in the UK, you can get them for 50k pounds, like a 2014, 2018. So I look to get a 2024, but yeah, basically the reason why any BMW, Mercedes, Rolls Royce, Lambo, everything is imported to Thailand, but they slap a 300% tax on the car. The government does. Yeah, so it's not, you know, doesn't really make sense for me to buy a GTR. So I'll buy the GTR in Dubai. Because right now I've got a couple apartments there. Once they're built, and then I buy, say, a villa or whatever, I'll leave the GTR. I've got a place to leave it, you know. Otherwise, I won't buy it just yet. I mean, bikes here, bikes make sense. You can buy a bike, but no one's selling the H2R. So I'll just keep the Z1000. Do you live in Dubai or Thailand? I live in Thailand, brother. Fucking sick. Dubai is shit. I've been to Dubai so many times thinking that my mind would change. Every time I go there, I think it's shit. Right, I'm going to finish whipping this pasta because it's basically done. So I'll basically speak to you guys lunch macro in 20 minutes exactly from now. Alright, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Alright, so lunch macro, what do we have here then? What's on the shelves? Well, sweat buy side, shifted structure. Okay, so that's fine. And then we took that low. And we also took that invalidation low as well. So we got technically a sweep. And we do have a sweep of minor sell side. Alright, cool. And accumulation period on ES. Alright, well. Let's have a look at the bias. So the hourly bullish, I mean the 4 hours bullish. The hourly is nothing. And then the 15, well, that's neutral. And it didn't trade into the bearish gap on the 15, so it's neutral. And then the 5. Let's have a little look, mate. Well, the 5 is bullish towards the short-term high at NQ and ES. So we've got a slight bullish bias. F1. I mean, you said F1, so people still watch F1 these days. I stopped watching that when they switched the engines over. It's not fun anymore to watch. You know, I stopped watching that years ago. They switched to the V6. That's shit. Yeah, MotoGP. I watch MotoGP, yeah. I watch the highlights anyway, I don't really watch the full race. I got MotoGP downstairs, you know. Stop rolling out into Pattaya like Guy Martin. You know, we go through days where it gets really eventful. You know, this week, I can't lie, it's been pretty eventful, you know. So we go through periods, you know, last year in middle of October, and even though we closed the month 8R in a profit, didn't we? We had a 5-day period where we didn't take a single trade, you know. So it varies massively, as I told you guys, you know. Like Tuesday, we had 2 winning trades. And then yesterday we had 2 trades again, you know, so it gets active. And then, you know, today we've had no trades in London, no trades so far in the AM. And then we got this macro, and then we got the PM. So you can see it's a lot more probable that, you know, a model forms. Now we're monitoring 3 more macros, obviously. Jan has been phenomenal. I can't even, that's another word that I can't say. But yeah, and I agree. So over the last, you know, 3.5 years, so 2025, you know, 2024, 2023, this is the biggest January I've personally had. Coming up to the 15th, this is the biggest one to date. Over the last, well, this is obviously my, you could call it my official 4th year, because I've done 3.5 years of ICT profitably, and now we're going on to 4 years ish. Yeah, and I've been trading for 6 years. What's the longest you've gone without taking a trade? Yeah, as Jack said, I think it's about 7 to 10 days. Trading days. Yeah. It's just price action. I mean, you either get a position or you don't. Milo, can you write a Discord on... Okay, so Milo, can you write a channel on trading a live account? What's different? Oh, what's different? What's the same? How much to put on there, etc. Well, I'm not going to make a channel on it, but I'll tell you now. So, you know, the minimum you can start with is 10k USD. You risk 4% of current balance at all times, and your peak balance 4% always. And you grow the account with payouts. That's it. What's the difference? I mean, it's self-explanatory. Obviously, you don't have a fucking drawdown. You have the account. So you don't have to follow, like, prop firm rules, obviously. So you don't have all those issues. You can hold through news. You know, the other day, when we took that trade, I had to close out prop firms. You know, 90% of my prop firms, you know. I held through the red folder 10 a.m. news on the live. And then it hit 2R, you know, so... Yeah. Should I start a live account if I have 10k? Well, the answer is no and yes. So if you've got all your accounts, then you don't need to reinvest into more accounts. Then yeah, start the live account. If you don't have 38 accounts and you're not making 20,000 a trade, right? Then you need more accounts. You're running a fucking business, okay? And as I say it, you've got customers lining down the street, and there's queues so long that they're fucking off. They can't wait that long, right? They're just driving off. But you're refusing to scale the business, so you're leaving money is just dispersing, but you're not taking it. So only if you scaled, then you can capture them customers and get the money. Okay. So if you don't have 38 accounts, 38 is minimum. I mean, I've got 76 accounts now, or something. It was 71, now it's going to be 76 because I got 5 more Traderify accounts, you know. And then we've got, what do you call it? You know, the baseline's 38. If you add Traderify, we're talking 43. If you add Lucid, we're talking 48. And then if you add these other ones like Bulanox and these ones I haven't looked at yet, you know, then you're looking at even more. C4's got 55. And you're probably thinking, C4's been trading for years. No, he hasn't. He's most definitely probably looked at the markets for years, but he's made all this progress within a few months. See? Because he doesn't play around. He does what's need to be done. He doesn't trade outside the model. He doesn't break his rules, you know. See, that's what I'm saying. You know, trading for 5 years. You know, he's been monitoring price, different assets. Yeah. Yeah, we got loads of people. Isn't it so strange how when you go on social media, no one posts a fucking loss? I fucking love posting losses. I can't wait for someone to comment. But they don't post it. It's weird, isn't it? When it's time for a VPN, it's over. Oh, yes. It really would be it does start to get a bit silly there. It does, yeah. Some people won't even understand what that means. I mean, that's just like another caliber. Because they need course money. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, they don't post their losses. I'll post fucking all of them, mate. How can you, like, put something out and only show the good parts? I ate this food, it tasted great, but next week he's got fucking heart disease. But he won't tell you about that. They're just telling you it tasted great, and then everyone gets fucking heart disease. So it's like, they're just full of shit. I comment on all these people all the time. I actually just commented on one when I was eating my pasta, and I commented gay. Yeah, it's got to be done. You got to tell them. You have to tell them, guys. It was just a video. Someone in Miami on a balcony, he said lock in or clock in or something like that, and he filmed someone, you know, working a job. Like, why the fuck would you even do that? You know what I mean? Stands there on his balcony, films himself, and then puts a caption, lock in, or probably got a cock in his ass. Well, that's what he's got. And then yeah, I hit him with the gay. That was super gay. So the 15's bearish now. You see, we traded back into that. Oh, so I got to wait for the M5 Max. I assume it's, you know, coming pretty shortly, so I'll just wait for the M5 Max. Because right now I've got the M3 Pro, and I've had the M3 Pro for, I think I've had it for about 2 years. I don't have any issues with it, to be honest. I mean, I've had no issues at all. It's been great. To be honest, I probably won't even see the difference with the M5. It's just that inconvenience, you know. You just got to download everything, download TradingView. Until there's that significant difference, then it's like, it makes sense, doesn't it? Wait for the Max chip. That must be something new coming out in the future. Super laptop. I just don't really rate the Windows. It has to be Mac for me. I mean, just Mac's a lot cleaner. Like for trading and monitoring price, the MacBook is the best. Yeah, it really is. Well, it's just my opinion. I mean, I just think it's the best. You know, you can split your screens pretty well. I just like the layout. Safari, it's quick. Windows is just a bit shit, to be honest. I don't really like Windows. That's what they say in New York. I learned that lingo, actually. They say pause, don't they? I learned that in when I was in New York a few months ago. because my driver from the airport, basically, he must have said something and then he said pause. And I was like, you know, what, we paused in the music or something? And then he explained the lingo. I have one funded 50k account and want to purchase 4 more evals ready for next week. Do you trade these separately, or would you have your live funded as your lead? I'm on Top Step X. Well, I mean, you said you bought... Wait, I want to purchase 4 more evals. So as we've spoke about before, it's better to get one guaranteed funded account for the same price in 1 day, I mean in 2 days, rather than trading it for a month and then getting 4 at the end of it, because you're going to make more money by doing it with having, you know, one. You're going to get to the money faster because you funded in 2 days. Then the money that's made to fund the account is then on your fund account instead of funding the account. But I can see that channel that needs to be created for the 2-day pass is very high demand, because we keep getting a lot of questions about passing and whatnot. So it's gonna be on there shortly. Trust. Trust, brother. Will I update prop farms? I'm going to make a new channel for the passing, but it will be at the top of the Discord. Let me have a look. Bobby said, how much was it? 2,000. Well, I mean, $2,000 is going to get you four accounts, guaranteed in 2 days. $400. So it'll be about $450, about $440 ish. That gets you 1 account guaranteed in 2 days. Yeah. Well, what prop firm? So it's actually random. So the result that you actually get of what prop firm is random, but it'll either be My Funded Futures, Alpha Futures, or Top Step, or essentially Take Profit Trader as well. So the outcome's random, but the outcome is guaranteed. GN French isn't 450, 550k. Yeah, if you buy 5 of them, yeah, I mean, you're correct. But you know, when we're talking about the method that we're talking about here, so it's 4 times the price, but it's also 100 times more effective because you're getting to the money instead of putting the money in an eval. Am I going to test out any more prop firms? Yeah, good question, because I actually am testing more. So I've got them in my iPhone notes. So obviously we done Tradeify. Why are people putting gay flags on him? There's a good question, right? Yeah, it looks like you're just getting to get gay flags there. I mean, we can't really stop that. It's just a natural flow. But it is a good question. So basically, if we look at the notes here, yeah, there's no stopping it. I mean, it's almost automatic at this point. Right, let's have a look. So, as we say, people who they come into the group and they see us having our conversations, they must think, holy fuck, what have I got into here? Well, we talk a lot of business, we educate. Alright, let's have a look. I wrote this down in my notes somewhere. I've got Discord upgrade, 2-day pass. That's already in the works. Alright, is it here? No. Yeah, so basically, the firms that I'm looking at, right, is... So I said Tradeify. Tradeify's there, but I've already looked at it and got it. So I'm still assessing Tradeify. And then once I get paid out, we can call them certified. But I know that I get... Tradeify will pay out, that's fine. I'm looking at Lucid, Funded Next Futures, The Trading Pit, Minded Next, Funding Ticks, and Blue Knox. So I'm going to be adding all of those shit firms to the stack. I mean, it'll probably cost me about 10... It depends how I pass them. It depends on their rules. So I have to look at their rules and then I'll figure out a way to... On which route I would use to pass them. Either a day or 2 days, and then that is done, So I'll add them on, and then, with the smaller firms, right, the ones that have less money, you'll still get paid. It's pretty much a guarantee you'll still get paid trading the model. How much you take, that's not guaranteed. So the smaller firms, when we're talking about these ones that I haven't really heard of, you'll be able to take about 10, 20k USD, and then it might start getting a little bit, all over the place. But you still took 20k. If they ban you after that, cool. Take a quick 20 here, 20 there, 30 there. Send it to the live. That's what you do. Yeah, that's the actual goal. I mean, I want to get to 120 accounts. But it's not really that easy to do that, so... Well, you just want more. You want everything. That's what you want. That's what I've been doing. Just getting everything. What do you mean with send it to live? I send it to the live account. Send my payouts to live. Yeah. So obviously the 5 minute goes bearish there, which isn't bearish, and the 15's obviously already bearish. The 4 hours bullish. Hourly's nothing, daily's nothing. So we're actually going to be stuck at this point. It's relatively impossible to see a trade. I mean, if we look at the 5, we could only get a buy if we inverse the 5 minute bearish gap. There's not one in sight because they're all in validation lows below. We can't inverse the gap. Yeah. Do you have any other inexpensive props for beginners? What do you mean? I mean, obviously just start with Top Step and follow the prop firm plan in the Discord. You're not going to be making 50k a trade straight away, but you got to start from somewhere. Look at this. Prop firms. So this literally takes you from square one, and you can either start with 1 account or 5 accounts, right? And then you work from there, and to pass those accounts, that'll be the channel that I'm adding, the 2-day pass, right? And also the 1-day pass. So I'll add everything to do with passing prop firms, and you follow that, and that will take you to 20k a trade. That's 38 accounts. It tells you how to reinvest the money back into the business. It even tells you that you can take, a few things on a date. So we're being fully realistic. If you're taking a 5k payout, we're going to say, here's 2k, go take her on a date, and then you got 3k. I've been fully realistic as well, always. But what I do recommend is that you don't take anyone on a date, and you don't do nothing, and you just take the 5k and you put it all back in. You get more accounts, everything. Fuck the date, yeah, fuck the date. Mate, it doesn't take much, you know what I mean? You just go for a drive, mate. Go for a drive, go to the beach, done. A bottle of Prosecco, bottle of white wine, done. There you go, babes, that's the payout. No dinner for you. I'm getting more accounts. All done. Are you passing accounts on NFP too? So we attempted to pass accounts on NFP, and then we blew 5 accounts. That was the Tradeify. So that was the first round. And then 2 days later was CPI. And then we hit the Tradeify accounts on CPI and passed them. And everyone passed. It was all live. So everyone got those accounts. I think we must have passed over 150 accounts that day. Probably more. Lewis said next CPI Lucid's getting robbed. Yeah, I think I'm going to rob him as well with you. Yeah. I'll do the next CPI live. I'm going to go for Lucid. Yeah, I'm going to look at their rules. I mean, I've not even loaded the Lucid website yet, so yeah, we're going to take a look at that. Also another thing to look at as well is that the one thing I don't understand, other people in the space, they're going to say that you shouldn't scale too much because of this, that. Brother, you need everything because the opportunity is there to make as much as possible, and they're not capitalizing on it. What if we bankrupt these prop firms? We will. That's what we're doing. That's it, and the money goes to the live account. So you can see right now we're shifting at 13, a close at 14, and at 15 is outside a macro for an entry which doesn't even follow a bias. Okay. If you want to understand invalidation low, in this case IV would be this low. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. So we have this low, and this low is only a couple ticks below. So these are lows at the same area. This would be the second, and this is the third low. This would be the IV. Now, obviously it wouldn't be valid regardless. The bias doesn't align, so we're not even off step 2. We swept buy side, but we don't have step 2. So there is no model here. And no, we're not done for the day. We are waiting for the PM session. So, how much does Tradeify cost? How much did I spend on Tradeify? It was 96-ish dollars per account, and it was times 5. So I spent 500, and then I blew them, and then I reset them and spent another $500. So I spent $1,000, and I got 5 funded Tradeify accounts. And the first payout, I'll be looking at really minimum 1.5 times 5. So it's going to be, I spent 1k, and the minimum that I would take is 1.5, which would be, the maths ain't mathing right now, 7.5k USD. So that's a 7R. 7.5R on what I spent on the account, you know. That's the minimum that I take. Usually I'll want at least 2. Yeah, it is lifetime, yeah, for Apex accounts. Alright, it was good speaking to you guys. What I'm going to do, I will, cut the stream here. And then we're going to re-go live. So we're going to go live again in 1 hour and 1 hour and 20 minutes for the PM session. Speak to you guys shortly. So as of now, looking at price action, if I just share my screen, okay, we have a sweep of buy side, and obviously we are looking for shorts, and we're going to do our bias in a minute's time. Apple said 1 hour long just played out in lunch. Okay, right. What are you talking about then with lunch? 1 hour long. Where? I haven't missed a single trade. So whatever you're referring to is not valid. Alright, so looking at the daily, we are neutral. Four-hour time frame, let's have a look. So nah. So the 4 hours still bullish. Traded into the 4-hour bullish gap. And it's still bullish. Yeah. Hourly time frame, let's have a look. He said 1305. Well, there's no trade at 1305, and also that's not a macro we monitor. I mean, there's no shift on ES, let alone. Well, to be fair, ES did shift above that short-term high, but it's not a macro that we monitor. When you said lunch, I thought you meant the first lunch macro, but you're talking about the second lunch macro. But we don't monitor that. Alright. Yep. Alright, let's see what we get here. Bullish. So hourly time frame, it's basically been neutral in the whole day, pretty much. Yeah. 15 could be bearish here, yeah. And let's see if we got a bearish 5. Alright, well, the 5's not bearish. Now we have an unfilled 5, and ES is traded into it, currently respecting that area for price, which is going to be bearish on the Nasdaq towards the next low or bullish gap. Alright, cool. So we've got a bearish bias, sweep of buy side, shift in structure, and then on ES we don't have a valid shift, so that's a failed shift on ES. Okay, so on NQ's terms, NQ's done its part. It's inversed the order block paired with the gap, not the biggest gap, but on ES it's a failed shift, so it's likely going to seek buy stops here. So let's move this. Yeah, I think it's time to sack my ting off as well. I think I'm gonna get a new one. I'm gonna get 2 new ones. I'm pretty sure, because you know you've been in and out. Once you've been in and out of the, you can only go around a racetrack so many times. Let's say it that way. You know what I mean? Treat it like an SMT. Yeah. So you know, ES traded into the unfilled 5, and NQ hasn't. So it's SMT between imbalances, unfilled imbalances. Yeah. New day opening gap 12-12. Well, I have that marked. So these, I don't know why I say these. It's this. So this is the 15 new day opening gap, and that's the 5. So that's still marked from New York. Yeah, we still got that marked down. So that's first failed shift on ES. Now, yeah, we can see a second shift, which is fine. Okay, and then yeah. Well, it's like, you know, we're always growing our capital and everything, and we're always improving. And when I was in the gym today, I was seeing some better accounts walking around. So I'm gonna move from this thing and get an upgrade. Now my thing's calm, but maybe those other things are not better, but they're probably the equal level. Or maybe we'll just keep this thing there and then just run some more. We don't know. Who knows? Milo, do you cover up your assets when trading or just run meds? What does that mean? Well, as I told you guys, you know, I've seen a lot of people losing money, of course, today. Because they don't know what they're doing. And we haven't taken any trades. We're currently up 4.25R on the week. On the week. Yeah. I think I only went on Instagram for about 2 minutes, and I must have seen about 20 people post losses. You know. You said today's price action's bad. I think it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's great. A lot of people, they seen this. This was a great reel that they made. They seen this. Oh, bro, choppy day, bro. Oh, what's going on? Oh, no, it's not like the Nasdaq ran 300 fucking points before the New York session, you dumb piece of shit. And then it accumulates. What? No. It's accumulating. Oh, no way does it manipulate the low. Oh, he's got to be joking. Fucking idiots. So New York session, I mean New York PM session. So, you know, yeah, we got obviously a slight bearish bias to a certain extent. Now, if we look at the 5, that could be a 5-minute swing, which it is. So essentially, displacing below this low, because he has failed the first shift, if it takes this low, automatically 5 goes to neutral. So the only scenario right now for the Nasdaq to get shorts is to take minor buy side, because a shift below that low, that's not shorts, that's a neutral bias. Yeah, I mean, I actually can't even believe how inexperienced people are. You're right. I mean, it's 500 points. You know, we're talking from Wednesday PM session, and it has traded with no significant discount for price. 500 points. Even from the Asia. we've traded 400 points, and people wonder why we've accumulated for 30 fucking minutes. They're gone bonkers. They're taking about 2 free trades. Everyone, oh dear. We didn't take any trades, did we? No. I saw a gay profitable trader. You mean unprofitable? So you saw a gay unprofitable trader getting emotional, move this stop loss down, and blew the accounts. Yeah, when you say gay profitable, you meant unprofitable, right? Because he blew his accounts. You said no profitable. No, I'll say no unprofitable, brother. You don't blow your accounts, okay? That's called a loser. Loser. All-time loser, my brother. Yeah, so basically as of now, you know, we do like to have a joke sometimes, you know, it is quite funny. But at the same time, we're always locked in and aware of current price. I mean, there's nothing else to speak about. We got a bearish bias. It's not possible for shorts right now. We need a sweep of buy stops. That's it. I mean, you know, a lot of people, they look at price and they're like, this is looking like a trade. I mean, how can it look like a trade? It doesn't look like a trade. It either is or it isn't. What type of methodology is that? So that's a neutral 5, you see? So just from price taking that low, that's not a second shift at yes. Matter of fact, that's a failed shift the first time, right? It created a gap, cool. It didn't close below the low, failed shift. And then ES goes for the second time on this low and fails again. And then it just took the 5-minute invalidation low. And neutralize the bias. It doesn't mean that we won't take a trade in the PM. You know, things can really ramp up fast in the PM, but it can also be relatively slow. Elite trading may be long. Well, I mean, that's just obviously, that's a Jimmy Cramer quote, that is. You must know Jimmy Cramer. He's the biggest retard on CNBC that I've ever seen in my life. He's made 80% of his predictions have been incorrect. Inverse Cramer, yeah. I mean, he's off the charts, he is. Alright, let's see what one of these is saying. Testing out a 7-Eleven. Now, I don't really go in 7-Eleven that often. But I bought something. Now, 7-Eleven, certainly, you can get, like, a few good things from there, you know. But to hit the required amount to pay with card, I had to buy, you know, about 10 packs of these. So I took one of them and then see what it's saying. The vitamin C's, yeah, you know about the lemon vitamin C. Yeah, I used to drink a lot of those, but since I only drink out of glass now, I stopped drinking them because they're in plastic. I thought, you know, it's kind of counteracting if I drink out of plastic, and I'm trying to stick to glass. So what would I call today? I would call today clean price action. So with ranging in price is not dead. I don't think you guys, if you think this is, you know, chop or, you know, obviously Rob's always trying to rob the market, so he has a point, you know, because, but at the same time, right, price is ranging very cleanly, okay, and that's what we like. Now, you guys clearly haven't seen, you know, some parts in July. Yeah, so I mean, nothing as of now. You see what we do? We preserve capital. because of the model. Now, we don't sit there and look at price action and say, oh no, this is a day I want to preserve. No, no, no. I have gone through every type backtesting, every type of price action, extremely aggressive London session, and then to New York. Extremely aggressive Asia, dead London, New York. Everything to adapt the model over the last few years. And this is why we avoid, and you're probably always thinking, why do we avoid so many losing trades? Well, that's exactly why. They all play hand in hand. Bias using higher time frame and intraday, invalidation lows, shift on both assets, gap on both assets, inverse order blocks. Everything plays a part. Yeah, so right now, I mean, we've got a sweep of sell stops. Our bias, as you can see, well, the 5 is obviously neutral. The 15 is obviously bearish. And so is the 4 hour, and the hourly is obviously neutral, and so is the daily. So we have a neutral bias. Price can only seek a bias once we trade to take minor buy side, because then we're going to be bearish. And then this area here is where we can only get a bias from. Does that make sense? We can only get a bias from minor buy side or minor sell side. Just another sweep of sell stops. Okay. That's correct. Yeah, 5 minutes bullish. If you guys got any questions that you would like to ask, now would be a good time to ask a few questions. I always know some of you have some questions. It's always good to ask, you know, because that's where the improvement comes in. But when a whole essay question comes in, then I'm going to lose a few brain cells. So obviously the 15 is going to remain bearish, but the 4 hour is going to be bullish. Is it possible to trade top step from TradingView? Well, technically yes. Now the only reason why I say yes is because if you use the API key and hook it up with Trade Syncer, you could run your lead account, which is under Tradeovate, under a different prop firm, and then your lead account is on TradingView, and then it would execute on top step if you run it through Trade Syncer. I don't know if does that make sense? So otherwise, if you don't run it through Trade Syncer, then no. You have to run it through Top Step X. What are the key things you look for to tell you a day is not great to trade? Well, to be honest, obviously if the model's valid, we're going to take it, regardless of what has happened prior to the New York Open. But naturally, if you have a very aggressive market before the New York Open, then naturally you know price is going to accumulate. Now, if price accumulates, then there's no sweep of buy side and sell side, so the model doesn't actually physically give you a position. Milo, about performance of the model, how much % annually win rate, bad months, monthly return? Fucking hell, brother, that's a mouthful in itself. So obviously everyone knows the win rate's 58% based off a 2R. Annually, well, it depends how much you risk. If you're risking 4% per trade, if I give you last year's results, okay, so let's say on your live account you're risking 4% and you got last year's results. On your live account you would get 140% gains on your live from total balance, and then basically for your prop firm accounts, you would do over 5 to 700k last year. Bad months, I mean, like those questions you've just asked, you didn't even need to ask that question, because first of all, I think you've been in the group long enough to know, and second of all, in the backtesting ICT Fanatic, you have the whole of last year's every single trade, win rate, trades, month by month results. So you already have that. So that's a question that is just a click away in the backtesting IST Fnatic. What do you think about calendar section where we put tradable days? I think you guys know what days we trade. I mean, like, I only had to do that once over December because some people didn't quite know, but now they know. But the days that we don't trade, pretty self-explanatory. You know, it's the day before NFP, so Thursday, day before NFP. We don't trade triple set FOMC, but we trade FOMC meeting minutes day. Okay, we don't trade USD bank holiday. That's basically it, really. I have all my accounts on TradeSync and use TradingView to execute. Yeah. We've got a lot of questions here. I'm actually back. I'm back on the. It's a nice sweeper sell side there. Bullish SMT or whatever on ES. Cool. Our bias is leaning towards being bullish. That's fine. Cool. How do you do the thing that you have accounts on? Oh, brother, no. You almost try. You try get me there. You try get me. I'm recording for YouTube, brother. Oh. You're cheeky, mate. I almost read... Yeah. I'm not even going to say it. Alright, get away, get away, get away. Buddy, try to get us, eh? Man, Top Step X is great. What are you all on? I agree. Top Step's fucking great. They pay out fast. You know, they're great. They're actually, in my opinion, still either number 1 or number 2 in the prop firm space. Everyone just made a video about it because it was trending at the time and they can get a few views. Oh, Top Step's this. Gay. Yeah, so I agree with you. I got some people saying Feds. What happened? Oh, yeah, Feds. Yeah. Yeah, that's Feds. Hourly goes bullish at 25.8. Yeah, just obviously strengthening the bias. Yep. What about TPT? It's great. It's great. I mean, all you have to do to get paid out and take profit, right? You need to meet your drawdown. So you got to make 2K. That's pretty standard. I mean, you're not going to trade into a $500 profit on your account and then withdraw it, are you? And go back to zero. So, you know, essentially, you build it to a 2K balance on a 50K. And then you'd essentially always build every 50K account to 3K. When it hits 3K, you can take 1. Now, I recommend you trade it to at least 3.5, and then you take your first payout of 1.5, you go back to 2, and then you go from 2 to 4.5. I always do that with every firm, even at the level that I'm at now, especially if it's a new firm. So I build the account to 3.5. I always take with the newer, so if I've just grown it to that, always take 1.5. Why do I do that? My Jewish lessons, right? I take my money that I paid them. And I've 7x'd my return already with the prop firm. So I'm in a P&L on the prop firm. And then I say, okay, they paid me. Great. They paid me this fast. No issues. Okay, I'm now going to put a 4.5k buffer on this account and risk 600. That's why I do it. Yeah. So I do that to this day. I'm going to do it with Tradify. So I'll build it to a 3.5k balance. I'll take 1.55 times. That's 7.5k. Right? And that alone, 7.5k, tells me enough about the prop firm. How fast they pay out. Is there any issues? They ask loads of questions. And that will tell me, do I run scaled on this firm? Or do I just continue to milk 1.5s or 2ks? You know? That's how I test prop firms. So potentially it is slightly possible, and definitely possible, that we get a position. Only if NQ puts in a short-term high here. And also ES. So we'd have to do it in the next, few minutes. That 5 closure, pretty tight. But you can see it got respected, so it's obviously bullish. Matter of fact, 15 is now bullish as well. So potentially, I think today is just a no trade day, whilst everyone else lost money. I mean, from what I've seen anyway. I've seen most people lose at least 2 trades, not just 1. Now, you know, Dr. Scene, he asked that question, but I don't know what that is, so I'd even want to like read it out and try answer it, because I don't even know what that is. So I was like, I just kind of went past that one, you know. What would need to happen for you to not scale and keep paying out, you know, 1.5s? Good question. So I'll just look at things where if they sent me an email and said, oh, we need to verify this, or the reason for taking this trade, or if there's anything that the payout got delayed for 2 weeks, you know, small things, especially on the first payout, should be quick. So if it's usually quick, then fine. And then I'll build a 4.5k, so I'll just make another 2.5, and then from there I'll risk 600. I'll grow the account to 6k in profit, and then I'll be taking, you know, minimum 2.5k, 2k payouts. Just, but it happens a lot faster because obviously, you know, you're making 1.2k per trade. So it's essentially what happens is every 2 trades I hit, I'm taking a payout. Or every trade that you hit, it depends on the prop firm. So I'm just taking payout after payout. That's how it works when you're scaled. Instead of making 600, make 1.2. So after 2 trades, you're taking 2.4, done. Okay, so Rob is already, you know, planning his robbery here. Now, what he said, is it a break of structure? Well, the answer to that is no. So, I mean, if you have a look at ES, even, so Mines has done so much backtesting, he knows. So, you know, Mines looked at ES, and he looked at that and said, absolutely not. And Mines knows that's a failed shift on ES. Matter of fact, it's not even a failed shift. There isn't even a short-term high. Does it mean that we definitely can't get a model? I mean, if candle 12 and then 13 closes and 14 gives an entry with this order block, so this candle here, 14.12, would have to skyrocket and displace. If it doesn't, you know, there'd be no trades. So yeah, so basically this candle here is our end of macro candle. That's all it is. And then obviously we're going to be live tomorrow in the London session. I got my visa sorted today as well. You know, I went into the office and I said, you know, we're going to need a 30-day extension. And I spoke to them. So basically in 3 weeks, 4 weeks time, I'm actually going to have to fly to either Philippines or Vietnam to get the 5-year visa. So I got the 30-day extension confirmed. That's fine. I paid for it. But I have to get the 5-year one. Now, I don't want to go to Vietnam. I'll tell you that. You know, I definitely don't want to go there. But I actually do have to go there for probably 2 weeks, which is not something that I want to do. But I have to get the 5-year visa. You got to do what you got to do. Obviously, yeah, that's the end of the macro. How long will that take? It basically just takes, they said 2 weeks, so like 10 days. Hopefully it doesn't take that long. Alright, well, it was good speaking with you guys today. Obviously, anyone else that you watch, you would have lost money, of course, and we're up 4.25 hour on the week. And we're going to be live tomorrow on Friday for the, obviously, the New York AM session, the New York PM, and London. So I'll speak to you guys at London tomorrow. Have a good evening.